So I'm out here this morning changing the oil on the Jacyo. Now this is a 6.0 gas motor. If you've got the gas motor, I'll show you how to do the oil change in it. Pretty simple and save you quite a bit of money. The local dealer, the local Chevrolet dealers said they couldn't get it in the shop because of the size and it's only 25 foot. The RV dealer said they wanted $150 an hour labor and it would take between an hour and a half to change the oil. Sounds a little absurd to me, but that's what their going rate is. So for about $200, just in the labor plus parts, I'll just do that myself. I'll show you how. So I started off by putting a couple of leveling blocks underneath my front tires. Now this gives me about an inch and a half, 2 inches more to work with underneath there. Now it's still sitting pretty much level, but I've got a little bit of room to actually be underneath this thing. Next step, come underneath here and pull the drain plug. As you can see, I already pulled the plug out. It was a 15 millimeter. It's only torqued to around 20 pounds, so it comes out pretty easy. Okay, I've got my oil plug back in. I put it in there hand tight. I made sure the washer was still on the back side, that it was in good shape, no tears or anything in it. Everything's all clean, good shape. Put it back in hand tight, then grab the ratchet. And once it was hand tight, I only turned it about maybe 1/8 of a turn. And it was pretty snug. So I'm gonna grab my torque wrench. Torque wrench is set at 22 pounds. It's already there. So I'm not gonna go any more than that. Now, depending where you read, it'll say 18 to 25 pounds. Time to move over to the oil filter. So now we're on the driver's side. The drain plug is pointing out over to the passenger side. Okay, so I just loosened the oil filter. I use an oil filter wrench. If you have one of these, they work perfect. They just fit on the bottom of the filter. And then your regular ratchet just goes in it to turn it. Those aren't in there very tight, but you should use a little wrench like that to help pull it off. In a pinch, if you don't have one, you can take a screwdriver and poke it into the filter, pretty deep into the filter, but don't go the other side. And then maybe put another one on this side. So you got 2 screwdrivers basically spearing the filter, and you could grab those handles on those and turn it. Now, that's kind of a last resort method if you're in a pinch, but try to get yourself, the right tool for the job. Okay, so you see this is where the filter was seated. Pulled it off, wiped it all down. Make sure there's no pieces of the old rubber seal up there at all. Here's the new filter. You can see this top lip is rubber. That's the rubber seal I'm talking about. Make sure the old one came completely off so the new one seats properly. You can see this new one looks a little shiny. It's because I took a little bit of oil and smeared, used my finger and just smeared a little bit of oil onto that new seal. That way when it goes up against the bottom of the motor, it goes on nice and smooth. Okay, so I've got it nice and clean up here. All the old oil is drained out. Got my new filter. Got a little bit of oil on the rubber seal. Now this should go on super easy. There should be no resistance. As you can tell, it just glides on here. So if you have any kind of resistance, you're possibly cross-threading it. Make sure you don't do that. Okay, so the next important information is to make sure you don't over-tighten your oil filter. Right now, I'm still spinning it on. Okay, so it just hit. You see it's the rubber is against the bottom of the motor now. And after this, I'm just gonna turn it 1/2 of a rotation. So it's all black on this side, the sticker's on the other side. So the sticker should be in the front when I'm done. I can also see that I have writing across the bottom of the filter. So once that writing does a 180, I should be able to know that I'm half a rotation. Okay, there I am. I saw my sticker is exactly on the other side now, and my writing that was up here is, well, actually right there is perfectly a half a turn. That's plenty. You don't need to do it any more than that. Okay, so the only thing left is to add the oil. I'm running Mobil 1 full synthetic 5W30 and the STP oil filter. Now that's the S10060XL. You can run what you want. That's just what I've had good luck with. These are both rated for 10,000 miles. Not that I plan on driving 10,000 miles, but if I'm on the road and I'm putting some miles down, I don't have to worry. I've got an oil that's good, for rated up to 10,000 miles. These motors work pretty hard when you're pulling you don't even have to be pulling anything. The RV itself is pretty heavy, so it's working pretty hard. Put a good quality oil in it. Okay, started it back up, let it run for a couple minutes, looked underneath, make sure there's no oil leaking anywhere from the filter or by the drain plug, turned it off, pulled the dipstick, cleaned it, and reinserted it to make sure that it was at the proper fill level. Everything looks good. I'm done. Only thing left is to drop off the old oil. Now you can take your pan that you drained it in to O'Reilly's or AutoZone, these part stores. They'll take the old oil. I just pour mine back into the containers the new ones came in. So when I go down there to O'Reilly's or Walmart or wherever, I can just leave the whole container, walk out, and not have to come home and clean my old oil pan out and put it away. So all right, thanks for watching. Hit the like if you think this was helpful, and subscribe if you want to watch any of our RV travels or talks about PTSD and anxiety.